Welcome back, everyone. We are getting into the grand finals of the Back2School tournament number 2. It's going to be between Divine Child and Epic Comets, who both had pretty dominating victories in their best-of-1 semifinal. But now it's a best-of-3, so a little bit longer to figure each other out, some more maps to play on, and we are starting on Not Bind, which is wonderful. So we're getting into Ascent for the start of the finals here.
It's great to finally not be on Bind, but that's actually the last time we're going to be able to see it tonight, because our best of 3 situational is going to be Ascent, Haven, and if necessary, Breeze. But Zombie, I think you and I are very curious about how this one is going to go down, because obviously we had 2 pop-off performances by the tip of the attack on both these teams. It's going to be a micro versus don't touch my rice kind of show, but they're on completely opposite spectrums when it comes to the agency like they like to be on, be a controller or duelist. And micro's hovering on a Phoenix, which is kind of interesting.
Yeah, I would love to see some Phoenix. But even though Don't Touch My Rice wasn't playing a duelist at the tip of the spear, I mean, they definitely had their moments where they were still leading the charge. And obviously they still had the dominating scoreboard. So, I mean, we could have them even both kind of, let's say, like they equal each other out. Then it'd be down to what part of the rest of the team can actually pick up and actually show what they can do as well. As we talked so much about the standout stars, we did make sure to also mention those who had like great assists, for instance, and that could be what it comes down to. Unless, of course, Don't Touch My Rice is better than Micro by a tremendous amount, and vice versa, just coincidentally. We're here to find out, basically. We're here to find out. Phoenix, are you going to be played? Come on.
I mean, we got one with Totally Icy, so at minimum we're going to at least see one, but will we have a dueling Phoenix? A bit of fire to fight fire situation. The rest of this is generally pretty meta. The only difference is that you've seen KO maybe fall out at least a little bit, but I think they've been talking with Ubidi, because this puts them into a double duelist situation. And Micro, they are determined to flex into this Phoenix, so there's going to be a lot of curveball flashes coming out.
Yes, there will. Yes, there will. Okay, I'm glad to see it. Phoenix being more of a staple is always fun. And then I guess nothing, would you say too much interesting as far as the rest of the comp? I mean, almost identical.
I'd say that
Double duelist.
I mean,
go ahead.
Brimstone out of Zane, and I think that they look very comfortable on that Brimstone, and so I want to see how effective this is, because Don't Touch My Rice, they're playing that Omen that I think can be said in terms of just controller aspect and nothing else is superior because of the reloading dark cover and being able to purchase up to 2. Killjoys, though, is pretty static. I'm only a little surprised to see Ukla onto the Sky versus the KO, but you know, that's your flex, really.
Yeah, okay. So a little bit different. And we'll see if the compositions work out better for one than the other. But again, the first thing I think we're really going to be looking at is who ends up popping off. If they both were watching each other's games, which they would have been able to do, then they could actually have that in the back of their minds as well. Who's going to be the actual MVP of the match? And MVP in this case actually even rewarded with a keyboard. So we'll be deciding that before the end as well. And all the prestige and accolades that come with it, of course. But we're just about ready to go.
I'm not surprised to be able to see both your Phoenix and your Omen hanging out here on Site A, as you're going to have Totally Icy and Don't Touch My Rice willing to accept, but it's how quickly the fight came to Don't Touch My Rice, and immediately we're seeing evidence of who's trying to take it, as Micro was able to get that headshot on the Frenzy, and they are just so fierce and fast. This is the same design they had when we were playing on Bind.
Yeah, it's actually a very good point. I mean, they kind of live up to their names, don't they? Epic Comets, really liking some of these rushes and just all stack onto one position. Now, Divine Child immediately pushed back and losing one does put them, of course, into that unpleasant position. The retake is about to be situated here. Got that Sky Dog coming out for the scouts, checking down in hell. Micro able to take down one, still alive, still powered up here. Merc also coming in. Got some trades going down. Divine Child down to 2 on the defensive. Have to worry about that defuse as well. Go for that fake defuse, draw some people out. Totally Icy winning 1. Unfortunately, not able to take down the other, and that'll be a cleanup. Epic Comets will take this first round.
I like that you can play into, it's not much of a novelty, but at least into the pocket play that Zane can do off of some of these molly drops, because they were making sure to have a Vanguard agent right in front of them to protect them if they're going to have to do that lineup. But they also left someone nearby onto that door for when the firewall drops, and then making some of those quick contact plays. So great job so far, as we do get to see the Comets take out Divine Child, which, Divine Child, this is gonna be a big barometer to check, especially in this first game, as to how well they can take on some of these big fights.
Making a lot of noise over in mid here. She's gonna get a scout as well. Make sure to pick up the orb as they can push through to the into the A site. We got an Omen blinding them, of course, blocking them out with that smoke. Don't touch my rice being the Omen. We are once again looking as an all-star of this team. Don't touch my rice versus Micro. Micro is actually heading in through mid with the help of Opie, trying to find, well, exactly this situation. Finding one, Batman gets taken down, checking mid, and now that call over to rotate. They've opened up the site, even playing a little bit aggressively here. Merc was kind of prepared for it, actually. In fact, there's a little bit of a self-blind going on, which is a little bit awkward. Epic comments... it looks like to be actually getting another spike plant, despite the spike having to go so far back in the transition that it is a 4v3 situation, putting them into a position where they can take the second round as expected. They managed to get kind of caught up a little bit. Now they break on through. Like I said, the plant should be able to happen. Ubity trying to stop the influx of defenders from coming in. Managed to take down one before they themselves are taken down. And the gun pickup, of course, happening for Totally Icy. Also trying to get some wall bangs going through. Not actually finding any success there. And now Zane makes sure that it comes down to a 3v1 with Don't Touch My Rice now out of the equation. Down to Totally Icy. Are they icy enough is the question against all the utility as well. And 3, no one is icy enough. That's going to be teammates from the side of Epic Comets.
It was a song of fire and ice, and just like the old series is, left unfinished, but more chapters to be written on later. The first couple do go over to the Comets, and they only drop a 2, so you're going to see some light buys around the event, but it's otherwise a pretty solid looking bonus. So the big buy up, I want to know how that ultimately goes over for the Falcons, as Divine Child now is being left with a little bit of whiplash. They're like, okay, all right, 13-4, you guys did 13-2, maybe a little bit more prolific, but they haven't switched up who's also defending on both these sites. You had a very close proximity by Don't Touch My Rice. All he had was the paranoia last time around, but the big buy up really is going to allow them to kind of split this up, and they're going to run behind, they're running back.
Phoenix leading the charge as one does, especially with that ult. Don't Touch My Rice, able to come in from heaven, get a kill, and go back and wait for the rest of the team as that Phoenix ult does expire. Now that will be a plant here, despite some chaos, and a grenade also thrown down on that. Mosaic going to be prepared if anyone tries to go for a quick defuse. Not to mention posturing themselves up in hell here, waiting for anyone to jump down. Don't Touch My Rice. I actually didn't look. I was going to say should be taken down. They absolutely were. Merc to follow up at the very least, get some revenge. 4v3 situation as Epic Comets are down a man, but Opie helps to even that up a little bit. Zane also grabbing one for being taken down, and it's definitely not a round over quite yet. It's 2v1. Diffuse trying to come through here. Opie playing around that, has full health, a great gun, and an opportunity to go ahead and hold on here. One more goes down. Merc goes down as well. Opie with the 3K in the clutch, making sure that Epic Comets does not give this round away. 3-0 lead for them.
Off of the nerf to the recon dart, and still getting enough scans for it to matter right outside of the dark cover. That is such a lethal positioning as well by OP, because they just stand inside of that archway and they take them down as they see them from beyond the smokes. And then staying patient, not trying to go and take those fights too early, knowing they have a bit of better weaponry to them. So job well done. And I give, a little bit of leniency to Don't Touch My Rice, because not checking for that drop just underneath in hell, they did not see Mosaic sneak all the way around because there was so much pressure out in mid for that plant, but it does put him now into this bad eco.
Oh, that's a very good point. It's definitely a reason as to why they wouldn't check that. If they thought there was more of a possibility someone was down there, they absolutely would have. They just kind of figured, it's not a problem, I guess. Which, they are kind of that standout player. We're kind of looking them to be the anchor. That's not necessarily true. I mean, they don't have to be. As I said, this also could come down to who has that the better team support to help them out. Could be that they aren't actually topping the scoreboard of these maps as they are up against a greater threats. So have to rely a little bit more on their teammates. We'll see.
They are playing very close to the vest right now because they do like the power differential.
Oh,
Boom!
jeez.
Headshot with a Bucky. And this is why the hidden genre of this game is in fact horror, because you never know when you're just going to be encountered upon by another player coming straight through. Merc will be able to find another, and this is actually off of a possible Thrifty in the near future. Bad looks in this early goings for the side of the Comets.
This is actually looking so much like one. Divine Child deciding now is the time to really make things happen. Micro, however, grabbing 2 is helping to even the scoreboard a little bit. They are heavily injured and still down a man overall for Epic Comets. Plant going to try and come through, but Micro continuing to pick up kills. 3K for him. Totally icy. Gonna have the help of his teammate Batman to try and break open this and get the defuse. Things end up being a little more difficult than they should have been. Batman aims to pick up 1, and perhaps this is still their rounds. Totally icy, leading with that blind, will pick up a very smooth kill there, taking over the Phoenix battle and getting the defuse. So finally a point on the board for Divine Child.
You wouldn't think that this is when that first round would come through. You would think,
No.
okay, you know, just off the 2-1, but Thrifties are a weird beast. They just appear at random, and when they happen, it's because you're able to get some keen headshots and maybe some Bucky gameplay as that one punches in. But we actually are going to have an early timeout here, and I don't mind this one because they were able to kind of, you had the eco break of the 3-0 because that was your initial buy, and then you get onto a Thrifty. They actually could be able to punch back a little bit to this because there was some extra bots into the kits for the side of the Comets. They could be able to stack this right back into a 3-3.
Very good point, and I think you're right about calling it the Bucky opener, really making that more of a worrisome round to begin with for Epic Comets, and then as everything kind of folded into place afterwards, it was only Micro who actually made that look contentious, despite the whole kind of point of that round is that Epic Comets were kind of supposed to win in the first place. So, I mean, Micro is still definitely leading up to that kind of is kind of living up to that MVP status, but some of the help of that teammates, and it's been coming through for the most part. But now Divine Child, with some strategy being planned out, are looking to take that last surprise round win and build some momentum.
If they're speaking about anything, because the last round, when you play Thrifty, you either kind of stack up to each other to be able to kind of really use, as you've said, inferior guns to their maximum effect, or you play to that position. And they were pretty deep onto some of their more passive positions, and then popping off with either a Bucky or a Sheriff. This time around, I think they're going to be playing, all right, how actively do we want to go and be defensive, take some extra space, or do we want to play more of a receive and live? You're going to have another running back. Micro was able to gain that one last time around off of a 3K, and then it is going straight onto sight, and you actually have a couple of running backs being used at the same time, so the Phoenixes, well, their ults are off the field, but so are a couple of other players as Euclid is just popping off.
The great entry attempt there, but exactly, Ookla kind of making things stop in their tracks, despite Micro's great intentions, right? I mean, grabbing the orb to get the ultimate, move it in, throwing down the molly, and then actually even getting a kill before being taken out. Just the ultimate, of course, though. I mean, that was great. That was fantastic. But Ookla up and having able to do good things as well, and also having an ult of their own if they even need it. Don't touch my rice, able to actually get over that wall. Looking to take that 1v1. This is actually something we've been kind of building up to. Ooh, maybe denied it. Micro leading the charge for the team to head through mid. Unfortunately, they didn't realize people were coming through there. Don't touch my rice picks up 2 easy kills. Now looking for the third and does take down Micro. Hardly a duel at the end there. That was just don't touch my rice. Kind of all sneaky up. Getting 3 kills back to back.
Man, that's one of those real big cerebral moments because you put up that utility, especially of that firewall, so that you deter the possibility of someone coming back through that. And if they do, they're going to get damaged. But it's never really well read if someone does so, goes beyond it, and then they just stick to that corner. And the spray transfer by Don't Touch My Rice, that's likes of an immortal. That's when you're supposed to be able to take, all right, this man's looking away. This is the only one that's actually a true threat. And they just took them down one after another. Yeah,
no, absolutely. Well, as we sing their praises, they're the first one to fall here. It happens. As OP is able to open it up here for round number 6. And we got Micro able to take down their counterparts. A nice shot for them. meaning that Divine Child now find themselves down 2 men. Still in the defensive position, and their Killjoy is up and running, so all that nice utility over on B, which doesn't look to be where Epic Comets is thinking to go anyway. They're scouting around, trying to find out where exactly they want to hit, but A is actually completely open. So when they find that out, you can get the spike planted, no problem. Batman picks up Ubidi, who's kind of controlling mid a little bit more, but yeah, there we go. There's that A just completely wide open.
Oh, I forgot Batman was actually just kind of hanging out with a lesser HP bar, and A is now taking over as you'll have the squatters beginning to squat, hanging out here on their new house. But a great turn right around the corner is Merc able to drop Zane. And so Ubidi's been kind of treated as an accessory sort of duelist to act around Micro and their antics, and that's been able to propel them with some decoy plays to get them some free sights. But the retake is actually hitting a little bit harder, and you have all of one, and they're trying to delay what could be the inevitable as they will use that Hunter's Fury, but Merc is right around the corner, and now they have to run it up as the defuse is knocking down, and they eventually get dropped themselves.
At least their ult did find a kill, but Merc was right on top of that. OP not going to be able to repeat from round 3 or 4, was it? And now, hey, you actually called this. You said after that surprising win with the Thrifty into the timeout that they could actually strategize something, try and get the momentum, and then have us at 3-3. Here we are. Good call, man.
You know, sometimes the caster says words and we're just hoping it happens. This time around, it was right. So cool. Pat on my back. Ah, that felt great. But either way, we go 3-3 and kind of looking into the old situation. You do have a lockdown available for retake and an orbital strike to either punish the initial force or possibly to kind of do the same thing and maybe combo them together. But as expensive as those giant AoEs are, they're probably going to use them in separation.
I would expect so.
Uh-oh.
It found out it's gonna have to teleport away. Unfortunately, cannot do so. And OP and Nobility actually gonna pick off one each to start the round off for Epic Comets. We're looking to they keep saying like comments. It's surprisingly hard to say fast. We're looking to stop this momentum. This is trying to say. And this is certainly the best time to do so. 5-3, a couple of ults in their pocket should they even need it. Divine Child struggling to actually keep them off the site. So, okay, Merc able to get 1, now make that 2. Situate themselves down in hell, still help out their buddy. This quickly becomes down a 2v2 scenario, actually. Oh, there's the orbital strike, making sure that the fuse cannot come through, at least right now. Spike still, taken down. Don't think there's much time left over, especially as Epic Comets play around that spike as well as possible. And there you have it. They do put a stop to that little build of momentum and put another board on the board for them. Points on the board for them. After a little bit, right? But I like to see this. I feel like we're actually getting some testing, some prodding, and obviously a much closer Valorant match here.
Yeah, right now we're seeing a lot more of the Comets. I think being mindful of next steps. I mean, when you have a Brimstone and a Sova still alive, they're on opposite sides of A main, and they both have not just the lineups, but as well as an ultimate and the orbital strike. It's a bad time for any retake. It's awful.
Yeah.
The orbital strike investment is there. We still have a lockdown per side as well, and Micro, they're going to try and get some extra health, but no, they're just going to kind of walk themselves to death as Don't Touch My Rice, who has been at the traversal of being the first kill a couple different times, now is able to find first blood, but Mosaic committed a bit too much to the meme to get rid of Batman, as Batman does fall. And now maybe the lockdown as Merc thinks about it. Do they double globe this? Yes, they do, which means they have to hunt down the other side of the lockdown.
Yeah. Gonna get a little crazy. Merc able to take down 1. Do they know about Biddy? No, but they don't have to. They take down another. Almost got Zane as well. Now, the lockdown was turned on the defensive side. Attacker side didn't actually catch anything. As it all boils down here over on that B hits. We have nice wall bangs coming through here. Don't touch my rice. Making sure to check through that. Without having to actually show themselves. And Ukla will go ahead and pick things off. Leading to a 4-4 tied score yet again.
My cat decided to show up. He likes Valorant. So, Chief hanging out with all of us. But otherwise, this was a very back and forth sort of situation as we do have 4 rounds to go. And really, it's funny to see both. I feel like just like omens that share all of one brain cell, killjoys do the same thing, and it's kind of an ego flex. Oh, you're putting your lockdown down, I'm putting my lockdown down, and so then it becomes a fist fight as to who can get to who's quicker. And I liked that kind of post position by Merc, looking for the funnel of those that want to be able to get rid of it. And this catwalk position, they want to be able to take over mid and deny some of this entry space, but it's because B is already under fire.
Yeah, Epic Comets once again actually moving on as quickly as possible, and this will create a situation in which Divine Child can come through multiple attack points. See if they can make do here. Micro being offensive once again. Doesn't actually get anything with that. Totally icy, almost prepared for it by the looks of it. And this might just be Divine Child, so the chance at a lead, actually, their first lead, I want to say. Things otherwise have been tied up, but guns ablaze every which way. Opie was the last to fall for Epic Comets, but fall he does. And the defuse, plenty of time to go through here. Divine Child, as I said, finally getting that lead. They were down 0-3, brought it back, tie, now 5-4.
And this is actually because of keen and decisive just, all right, do we stick and be passive? Do we just get repelled and give sight and have to play into a 5v5? Or do we immediately rotate? And off of the immediate call, you've been seeing it over and over where we've had Don't Touch My Rice as well as Totally Icy playing on top of each other on A. They run it out to mid, and that gives them one of two benefits. You either now maintain mid, and there will be no further rotation, at least not for free unless you're going to go through a gunfight, or you're already there in the back corner of the Comets. And now Comets are finally on the lesser side of this eco, so they're going to have to be playing into a disadvantage.
I'll be barely missing out on the chance to actually use the sniper. Oh, now looking to make sure Catwalk is not going to be taken over. Seems like they are intending to actually work their way through mid. Don't Touch My Rice, just waiting for the opportunity. Going to be swinging in here. OP, oh, does look, but get the gun out in time. Now the spike, okay, is going to be able to be picked up. Not in the most awkward spot possible. But overall, Epic Comets. Now what is the plan? This one has been revealed. Further scouting from Batman as well. They're going to still push it? I mean, they just seem totally locked out.
This is one of those where you are trying to get the spike back onto the catwalk and they're looking to defend them because they were on the grass and they don't know how far pressed up. Maybe the defense was looking onto B main, but this A lean doesn't really pay them much favor. Totally Icy gets rid of their twinsies, so Micro no longer on the board. And then just the job and the all the damage has been done now by Divine Child as Don't Touch My Rice and Icy will retreat. And there's really not much that can be effectively done, especially with this eco, unless you're suddenly going to be able to click a lot of heads.
Yep. Come down to that. We've seen it before. It happens.
A couple times.
It does seem like Divine Child are playing this out quite correctly. Burst on through. Don't Touch My Rice was temporarily looking the wrong direction. Does get taken down. And we might actually have a bit of a breach onto that A site, but we're down to 4 seconds here, 3 seconds. The shots are missing as well from Ubidi. And there you go. Epic Comets all taken down here. Divine Child furthering their lead. Still not taking a tremendous lead. Momentum can shift back, and that was Epic Comets on a rather poor buy. So now it's their time to try and figure things out as they're able to buy up.
I was expecting this from the Mako game. So you were talking about how that momentum shift was there, and this really is a big counter push that can be made, not just for Epic Comets, as they want to be able to at least even this up. That's the best that they could do into this first half. But the same for Divine Child, because they're respecting this team. The fact that they had to be able to kind of powwow a little bit before, and that I think it was after the fourth round was committed, and then seeing how much that's given them streaks of 3, we've not seen the same effectivity out of the Comets since then, and they looked a bit fledgling, especially out in mid. I know it was an eco, and I know they were basically looking for long-form duels on sheriffs, but you got to think, all right, this really could be a turning point for both squads to either elongate that lead or maybe cut it down and see if they're just even Stevens going to the next half.
Yeah, agreed. I don't think I'm ever going to disagree with you, but just to emphasize, agreed.
Wait. Pineapple on pizza, yes or no?
Oh, I like it.
Okay, cool. All right. So we're still agreeing.
Whoa,
okay. All right.
The whole production,
cool.
man.
Wow.
Whoa, that never happens.
All right.
Questionable.
Oh, with
We're all
bacon,
aliens,
not
actually.
ham. That's what I gotta say on that, because it's like saltier.
Oh, I don't like bacon. But
Okay, we disagree then. So
yeah,
that is.
I also, I have some pretty infamous bad takes. I don't think Lord of the Rings is a good movie. Bacon's not great. I don't others that I'm Final Fantasy VII's not the greatest Final Fantasy. Now I'm getting my hiring in question. Oh no, I knew my bad takes would come back to bite me one day.
Right now, the only bad take is that both these teams are doing a bad job, which is totally untrue. You get a stun up right now. As Michael's going to try and hold this corner. They get blinded, deafened, and dumb straight into the dirt as this defense quickly denying a control of space becomes a 2v2. And you have a Sova on each side. Merc is going to creep in from this flank. And you got to think that's where maybe at least one person's coming from. I didn't expect both of them to be there, and I don't think they will either.
Cautious. And the attackers were down on very low health anyway. And didn't really get a chance to even take a duel there. So 3 from Divine Child, able to take down 3 from Epic Comets, but then also injure the rest. And Divine Child able to actually take a 7th here as well. No guarantee about that, I want to say. Like, that really felt like it could go either way till the end, in which the healthier teammates were a little bit more favored to win, but then also Epic Comets didn't really get, I think, as much time as they would have liked to really set up to prepare for that. But yeah, that's gonna be further wins here for Divine Child.
Yeah, they didn't really get to do anything at all. And I think that has been the change of pace and position that we've seen a lot from Divine Child, because they've been willing to receive, they've been willing to go out and fight, and they played with that initial push, because so often you see the attackers, they're basically given free space and you kind of attack from way back, but coming in from garden into door to be able to take down Micro, he had no position of comfort. But you do have an orbital strike, and you do have a Hunter's Fury, and that actually could be used to tender out some space or for a post-plant protection point, but they have to get past Icy and Don't Touch My Rice.
Oh, their ults as well. Divine Child, 4 out of 5 ults, and they're 1 kill away from being 5 out of 5. Actually, Merc just has to grab 1, which could happen. But we already have some duels going down here. 1 down for each team. The plant will be happening here. Hunter's Fury going to be thrown out. Now that's going to be the defenders' Hunter's Fury. Able to find direct kills. Totally Icy, who picks up 1 actually now, trying to chase down Micro, which manages to pick up Ukla and wins the Battle of the Phoenix for 3K so far. 2v2 once again. So OP finds himself in a very similar position. Actually gets a shock dart out. Whoa, okay. Yeah, Merc not prepared for that and didn't actually win the chase down. I guess was considering angles from elsewhere. Now it's just good old Sova versus Sova. The Hunter's Fury come out from OP as well. Oh, the spam coming through with the attempted defuse. It's way too difficult of a battle for Batman, despite all he can do to try. It's just 2 objectives possible for Epic Comets, only 1 for Divine Child. And that does win OP the duel. Of course, they get exploded at the very end, but Epic Comets able to put another point there, stopping Divine Child from running away with this too much.
You know, that's about as good as it possibly could have been after that particular loss post timeout by the Comets. They were definitely like in a bad eco, and so you saw some light shields, maybe not full kits being acquired, but just being able to execute. And so we'll flip halves. This is not a mirror composition, but this is 2 teams that are very, very close in terms of how they want to execute. And it honestly seems like a shock and awe campaign was being parlayed by the Comets to the Falcons, because Divine Child was not ready in the early interim of this matchup. And then as they caught wind and they were able to really find that pace, it was very difficult for the Comets to be able to keep up. But otherwise, we go to the opposite side, and we're going to be at least tenderly pushing out here into A, and Don't Touch My Rice is immediately off the board by OP.
Yep. So Epic Comets, I mean, they really made certainly an impression in our minds, at least mine, that they're very aggressive. They were able to show their attacking side so often in their first semifinal, right? They didn't really have much trouble there. But then actually, of course, forced to swap in a very, very close map number 1. We'll see what the defensive prowess can do. Taking a bit more aggressive positions and finding the first pick as well, of course, sets them up nicely to take this round. OP's going to be able to scout the intentions to hit A very well, take down the Skydog, and not quite back away. We're not over-rotating either yet from Divine, rather from Epic Comets. Oh, they even come back in here for a kill. Not going to be so bold to try that again. They do back away into a nice defensive position with Micro, but it looks like the call to rotate comes in from Divine Child.
You know how many times you're allowed to re-peek, and it depends really on what weapon you got in hand. And look at the confusion as you see them kind of rotating out onto that attacker's side. But this is actually a fantastic call. Merc is caught, and this one would have been really the change of the tide, especially for how many agents in this power play. But realizing that so much of their movement and so much precaution probably was taken for this pistol and that rotation, they knew that there was free space on the B. So they're going to be able to get this plant off just in the nick of time with maybe only 2 seconds remaining. They're not exactly topped up, and Ookla can't heal themselves, and it's really kind of up to Icy to get some big damage.
Yeah. Yes. Against 4. 2v4 situation, trying to protect the spike. Micro is leading the charge, a bit injured. Goes for a little bit of a scouts. Opie's actually the one that swings in to get to the kill for 3k actually this round, and Zane cleans it all up so they can get that defused, and Epic Comets will actually make a statement here. Starting off on defense, winning the pistol round, and drawing the scores ever closer.
You may think that off a pistol, they could be fated to tie us right back up, and we'll be no further than we were before, except both these teams just 6 rounds away from maybe getting that winning point. But otherwise, it's going to be a full save out of Divine Child, who, you know, they tested pretty much the entire map in just their first pistol attacking round. They're like, all right, do we go here? Nah. Do we rotate here? Yeah. If anything, they're showing that they're willing to lean away. But that aggression that we continue to see out of Comets is playing into defense, and they're taking up space.
Yes. Yeah, Recon gonna go through, as well as the Span getting the injured Merc here. They're gonna try their luck actually breaking open mid, where we do have Sniper situated. Ability is Jet waiting for someone to poke their head into mid. Now it just kind of feels awkward for Divine Child. Drawing in the rest of the team, maybe looking to overpower it a little bit, but then we also have Epic Comets team members looking to cover Catwalk a little bit more as well. Looking to the eyes of Ubidi, who's just waiting for this opportunity. Unfortunately, misses it. It's going to lose some ground there, and maybe give an opening for Divine Child to move on through, but fortunately, the teammates are there to support. Still overall, a little bit more awkward for Divine Child, even more so as Ubidi finally picks up that kill. And there you have it. Last player, Merc, gonna be able to say, at least I picked up an orb.
Yeah, Merc is just prioritizing building up that very expensive ultimate at this point. Lockdowns are highly influential here on Ascent because it does really create not just decoys, but also open space to take B, maybe able to kind of work your way into A. If that classic, okay, Ubidi. By the way, Ubidi Opportunity is like my new favorite rhyming catch, so that's fantastic.
Good tongue twister. Unique New York. Ubidi Opportunity.
Unique New York tripped me up every day in high school. I refuse.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, all the time. I will not. Never again.
I never got taught that, actually. I had to do all the self-learning when it came to speaking properly. Did you take any public speaking or something?
No, that was I think it was some. So I was in band. I was a trombone kid, but then we had friends. Yeah, I know. And we had friends over in choir. And they're like, yeah, you got to go. Unique New York, happy face, sad face.
I see.
Oh, yeah, all that.
Yes, yeah. That is fun, yeah. Well, everyone's stacking up as they look to move over into A. Now, Epic Comets on the defense to they kind of odd guns once again here. This is certainly Divine's Child chance to once again take the lead as we have evened up at 7-7. Very happy to see such an even first map. Last week it was decidedly in favor of one team, 2-0. This time around, it's even feeling like a good chance for map number 3. Let's finish this one first. Unfortunately, we watched a very unsuccessful attempt from Divine Child to break open A. I mean, most of Epic Comets was there to hold on, and now they're reading this rotation. To a certain extent. I mean, Killjoy still has all the utilities over on a B, so it's just a matter of actually breaching mid, which he'll be able to do. No problem. Maybe not fast enough. Actually, might be coming in from the back. Sova trying to get the scouts. Trying to confirm the rotation. I don't believe was able to. Some sound was just made, though.
It's enough of a tiptoe to kick the brick, and they will have at least the alarm bots go off, and both of the swarm grenades are activated, and they have to commit to this as well. This is the buy-up round, and so far, none member has dropped on the side of the comments. They're probably going to have a little bit of that fist fighting going on. Don't touch my rice does open up the site. Micro will take out Ukla, so there will not be any extra healing, and they will be able to get that spike down, and eventually the values of those weapons come through. The buy-up finally getting itself some credit, as it were, but Ubidi, they now have just a Marshall and a Tailwind at their back to be able to catch a little bit of speed, but it's the ace by Don't Touch My Rice. That's the player that has to influence the squad in a big way. It's been tough for them to do across the last 15 rounds or so, but when the team had to rotate, when they had to go get that site, they were the one at the very front.
Yeah, definitely starting to come into that position that we expected. As you said, a little bit more difficult early on, and not just them having difficulty, but their entire team. They had to bring it back from an 0-3 deficit, certainly have done so, and are now hanging on to that lead, precariously, but they are. And then finding that 5K, it feels like they're really now feeling themselves. This is at their top performance. Meanwhile, the other team, Opie, kind of being the surprise MVP this time around, with Micro still being the tip of the spear often enough, just not finding nearly as many of those sequential kills they found in the semifinal. Ooh. Okay, I'm surprised Merc survived.
They're going to be running away with a lot of sweat, but also they're going to be topped off at least, because that's why you have a Sky in your back pocket if you're going to take those kinds of fights. The turret is dropped. I'm not too surprised or lean back in my chair because of OP, mostly because I'm standing up, being at this position, because Sovas are just as impactful, especially working across this entire map and how much intel you need. But Micro's just been taking these fights at full face, dry peak value, and that's really what you kind of have to basically have to do as a Phoenix.
Micro, case in point a little bit, maybe.
Yeah.
Just trying to, did end up trading out. It's not the worst case scenario. It's both teams now left to 4 members. They do have actually an approach to Cubby, or Tree rather, and it's going to be an A hit. Now, Ubidy's still here. I think waiting for the rest of the team is going to be the wise thing to do, and trying to come in from multiple directions. The post plant has been situated for Divine Child. And OP, of course, the classic spam. Not going to find any success there, not so far.
Sharing a wall just nearby as Garden is going to be the play. Going to be able to get around one. They do have at least Mosaic take down Don't Touch My Rice. So on that guiding light plant, they have one from down in distance, and they have Mountain Garden off of the spray. Ubidi finding a couple they hadn't been able to get before, and now this defuse. Ukla just knows exactly off of the team ping where it's going to be, and they're hitting all the way back in wine, and they have to kind of commit into this. They've stepped off. Oh, and they're not going to have enough time, and especially not enough bullets in the magazine. So Ukla, they do drop as well. But that's a 9th now going over to Divine Child, and that's honestly kind of a big pick play.
Yeah, I thought that was actually really nicely done, methodical from Epic Comments, trying to clear out that site for the retake. And then the fact that Ubidi was able to pick off 2. I thought it was going to be, game-winning, round-winning, rather. Unfortunately, not so. And you're put down to that 1v1 position where you also have to worry about the spike. That's we've seen that complication before on this map. Didn't end up working out. Arguably a chance, I guess, to actually get the kill first, but then was there enough time on the spike?
There may have been just a tiny bit, but also look at the aggression that you're getting off of this thrifty would-be position round. You do have the run it back utilized already by Micro just to go and get some extra scouting done, and that does result in a kill as Don't Touch My Rice is off the board. But the spike is all the way across the other side, and I think because they're being kind of util dumped on this dog play by Opie, they know not to immediately kind of run it down as they're waiting to re-navigate and link back up with their remaining teammate out on A, possibly main. Yeah, they're looking for, do they commit from mid back to B, or do they swing this out to A?
Remains to be seen. Batman with the spike can't lead the charge all that much. Don't want to have that in dead zone after all. And making sure that no one's popping their head out. Try and tackle them from behind. 39 seconds on the board. They still got time to deliberate. And Mosaic's even starting to hunt around. Trying to get some intel with the good old face check. Unfortunately, okay, they do not get taken down. That's good news. The utility, well, probably not going to be situated so well now that we do have that mid hit, but I mean, they're able to contribute minor amounts. Now it's actually Opie who's kind of left alone, very unfortunately. The rest of Epic Comet's forced to rotate on over and now being caught on that rotation. Ukla trying to take a duel against someone with knives, ends up winning it. And with 6 seconds left on the board, the spike is planted, now well within reach of Divine Child, 10th point for this round. They're in 4v2 situation. They've gotten situated in a post-plant position. And now it's a question of whether or not Zane and Micro can make us worry a little bit. So far, not so much. And both taken out without issue. Divine Child now double digits on the board.
The initial play there, when they were able to go off of the running back and commit to getting at least one or maybe even multiples out of A main, that was really, all right, this is a great momentum kit starter. But you could tell that there was a little bit of background coaching by Don't Touch My Rice as, all right, navigate out into mid. You're basically committing from marketplace to B, because there was, at the 35-second mark-ish, there was really no other way. They had to be able to press in. And it was into the necessity for the Comets to get a thrifty because they were low buy, and they still are. Really haven't been able to get their finances in order, and gotta think that's gonna really kind of come back to bite them here in the later term with only 3 rounds remaining right now. But this Sky Smoke position has got to be so well read. All of Zane and a Bucky, and now they're dead.
Yes, they are. And now the attack and Killjoy ult comes down to push the defenders off the sites. Lance is assured at this point. Micro trying to just take some pot shots before actually having to get rid of this door here. Easy peasy on that one. 4v3 situation. Epic Comets coming in with, mostly good guns, except Opie. Can still contribute greatly. A lot of people stacked up in Boathouse currently with just as a Batman, trying to take a different approach. Spike counting down here.
It's a rough situation because they got that Hunter's Fury. There's no way that they can be able to clear main site as well as the one all the way opposite. This is 2 separate fronts, and they can't fight both.
No, they cannot. Let me take on everyone in Boathouse. Yeah, that Sova's waiting in the wing, ready to stop the defuse from going down. And can they even win the fights against those in Boathouse? Actually, Ubity might be able to do so, but yeah, well, they wasn't really fighting at that point in time, to be fair, but does not, and was trying to run away instead. Not successful in that attempt. And Divine Child really played that post plant quite well.
Yeah.
Didn't actually have to use that ult at the end of the day. So now they have 4 stacked up ready for what could be a 12th round, 12 match point if they win this one.
It's been 4 in a row. Really, the change to this map in particular. Maybe Bind was just too much of the same thing for too long, but Merc has been, as most Killjoys should, really that kind of that piece set to play around. But even more because Don't Touch My Rice was cited and scouted as a person they want to get off the board inherently by the Comets. They've been able to really kind of pick up any slack that might remain. But there's not been too much slack, especially into this next half. They've taken the last 4, and you do see another eco situation for the Comets, as they're going to really have to make as much value as they can off of this, because if they're playing for next, that means there's only going to be 1 round remaining.
Yeah, exactly. That's going to be a check on whether or not it's a full stack. It absolutely is. Try to go for a blind and a peek in. Unfortunately, it's just really not working. Ubity even rushing forward, getting killed as well. Trying to get any early pick on it by surprise, being aggressive has not worked out here. As Divine Child does hold on to 4. Now it is a 4v3 situation. They break open A and get that plant down. What do we got in store for Epic Comets? We have an orbital strike. I'm saying otherwise. Just a shotgun to work with, which fortunately works fantastic in up-close positions. Able to come down from heaven with that and take the win there. Seeker is going to come through from the attacking side to determine where everyone is situated as they look to get a defuse going. It's still 3v3, but that spike is counting down, and now we do have everyone cleared up, even without the help of that Sova. Well, actually, with the help of Sova, excuse me, they got Zane. So everyone helped out at the end there to put Divine Child on match point.
Yeah, he bodied Zane with that giant electrical torrent coming through the wall. But Yeah, it was almost able. It was starting to have the inclinations of a possible retake, even into a dire disadvantageous situation because they were getting some of that early scouting. I thought they might be able to commit Zane's orbital strike to a main, but they just had no idea how the split was happening. And then being able to turn one into Garden really did solidify their position. So now this is it. Game number one. It is a best of three, so they're gonna have to find at least some big push here. And there's at least a couple big impactful ultimates still out there. You have the orbital strike defensively. Zane needs to be prioritized to live. And you've got the lockdown, which may very well, yes, it will be used here. They're going to try and hard entry into B, but they won't. That's a decoy play. And that's actually going to bait Ubity and Micro to their death.
Wow, yeah, actually fantastic play there. Don't touch my rice, just transporting on over with almost the entire rest of the team. Spike Carrier was killed, just a little bit awkward, but they're still mostly, yeah, alone on the site, so actually not awkward at all. It's just OP and Zane. It is just the people looking to defend B who are now forced to rotate on over and try and retake up against 4. Orbital Strike did come through, but to no success. And this is looking quite grim for Epic Comets, as they are now down to just Zane. Can they come in with the clutch? No, they cannot. Divine Child, 13-7, will win the first map of this best of 3 finals. At the end, showing more dominance, certainly, but I would say overall, a close Valorant match, what we're hoping for the finals.
That was, yeah, I mean, we got to see that first half really be a cerebral, all right, how can we receive pressure and how can we counter it? And really when you kind of analyze how often attack is dictating the pace of the game, that's where so much of the advantage in that first half was from the Comets. And you spoke it too. We didn't get to see much defensively from them whenever we were in that semifinal, but we got to see a lot of it now. And they lagged just a little bit behind on being able to kind of take these fights against Divine Child, who as soon as Don't Touch My Rice was in the driver's seat, able to dictate, all right, we need audible, we need to get out of here, or no, we crush it, we get through. That's really where this team shined. But Opie was the one that, or rather, opposite. Merc was the one that really kind of gave them that anchor to really last upon.
Yeah, no, it's actually awesome seeing that this was not a one-man show from either team. And in fact, people topping the scoreboard were different from those semifinals as well, but just that everything was kind of, closer together, which obviously made a closer match. And I'm just hoping that as we move on to our second map here, which is going to be Haven, with Divine Child starting off on attack, we can see even closer. But I guess this is also going to be a bit of a test here. If Epic Comets are really just the best they can be on attack, no matter the map, which we just don't know, then, they're starting off perhaps, I suppose, at a disadvantage, right? Hopefully they hold on to the defensive prowess that they did show, which wasn't enough, but, it still, was oftentimes close, and we can get ourselves a close second map as well.
Yeah, this is a tough map to try and do the same sort of antics that we saw before by the Comets, because when you think of Haven, when you think of any 3-side map, you take already your defensive unit that is trying to keep their head on a swivel and not be too afraid of which side's going to get taken between just 2, but then you opt for the 3rd and you're spread pretty thin. So playing for life and then juxtaposing that around how you're going to be able to still be aggressive, maybe pull in some of those greater, more, I guess, get the other team uncomfortable to attack and push too hard situations. That's really going to be indicative of how defenses are won or lost by the Comets. Because as we've seen, Don't Touch My Rice, and of course by Merc, this squad is ready to just kind of run it down, but they do so with some great forethought.
I was gonna say it's definitely logical. I mean, we definitely see some communication more than some from actually both teams. I mean, there's just a drastic difference between the finals and the semifinals. A little more, closer, as far as the players' performances. But then there's not just a complete bull rush into, okay, well, that didn't work, let's try something else completely different. There are some attempts at bull rushing and blitzing, but then even in times which you would think they would commit, they back away, they try something else. I mean, certainly seeing some of the cerebral game from Valorant as well as, of course, clicking on heads. But that's not the highlight. That's not the highlight of the best of 3 finals here. Actually, both teams trying to out-strategize each other.
Sometimes when you outthink yourself, you're like, all right, maybe we get just down to basics. You know, just like in Rocket League, we're saying just return to Monk. These guys gonna return to a little bit more of the just click heads and just go out there and body. I remember it deep down in the bronze times, all right, which we're in silver, thank goodness. Is you sometimes just have to remember it's a gun game. Go forward and kill. Get some of the streaks up, and you outthink yourself, especially when we go to utility placement, which we may very well get. I love playing Omen on this particular map, and we're going to be going into our agency switch up. But either way, I do look forward to this map and how they're going to be able to approach it.
Yeah. Well, some of the players BRB'd, so we're going to take an opportunity to take a very quick and short break here. Once again, thank you to Mountain for sponsoring the whole tournament. And when we get back, it'll be Map 2 on Haven. Welcome back, everyone. We are in a best of 3, and we're getting into Map 2, which is going to be on Haven. So it was a close first map, and we're looking forward to something similar here in Map 2. We've got Divine Child versus Epic Comets, with this time Divine Child starting off on the attack.
This one could be a big turnaround. We've seen teams really kind of fold in first halves, and it's because you have the leniency of a map win. I think this is regardless of what we go to. You can act just a little bit differently. You want to be the guys that win, but you also can be able to try things out if you find yourself to be confident into that map 3. I do wonder what kind of I guess general duelists that we're going to get into this. Opie floating the Reyna, I don't know if that's real or not. And I'm excited if it is, but also a bit scared.
Hey there. I mean, this is what they do to us, isn't it?
They do. We have no idea.
Pondering, yeah.
I've seen like 5-stack Yorus before.
Oh, okay.
And they just let the, go all the way around. And I'm like, come on, man.
Got a Gecko coming out, actually. It is confirmed.
Okay. All right. Which I don't hate that, because I think that Gecko really is a very strong entry agent, especially for this site. There's a lot of protection that you get, especially from their ultimate. But I'm not surprised to see Batman on the Breach. That combination alongside the Omen. Really, you're seeing kind of almost full meta, save one, where Merc is kind of that flex point, I'd like to say. On the Chamber, they can kind of be anywhere, and especially off of a Sentinel.
Yes, indeed. Yes, I think you said it right. Meta a little bit more for the attacking side here. And Divine Child be looking to get that 2-0 if they can with such composition. And for the other side, a little bit newer of agents, a little bit newer composition, Mosaic playing Gecko. I'm going to be interested in that. I've had fun playing Gecko. It's actually one of the first agents that I came back into playing Valorant and was like, oh, okay, this looks super silly. I'm going to try and get this guy. And I was playing around with him, but I haven't played with him too much, actually. I don't know if he's made a mark in the meta yet or what. I guess you would know.
He's been able to really kind of be thematic, I'd say. Especially because everyone loved him off of the big, Masters montage you got from with Taken Away. Everyone was like, Gecko, all the time. But he's also a very fun, I'd say one of the more balanced when it comes to your initiators, because when you do get Dizzy to be able to go and get those blinds, that's like from full distance. So you pop Dizzy out, especially when we still had Pearl, you can be able to blind someone with the slime ooze from a billion miles away. And I say balance, and then I say that, and I think maybe he's not. But either way, it allows for some plurality for your more imaginative either retakes or initial pushes. But we'll see it from a defensive standpoint here. At least I think it's going to be to B, and I think that's a great position to put that particular agent.
Yeah. All right, then. Again, Epic Comets coming on the defense first and foremost for Map 2. After starting off the last one on attack. See what Divine Child can do momentum-wise as we see them break open into B. We have a few members from Epic Comets actually coming around, so it is going to be a plant and then a post-plant situation here. Okay. Just checking some other things, guys, behind the scenes. Sorry about that. So yes, we do have the plants coming down, and like I said, we had Epic Comets kind of coming in here, trying to get situated for the retake. Mosaic able to make a mark as they take down Ukla. Opie also taking down one. Divine Child very quickly down to just 2. Opie with now 2K before being taken down themselves, and finally everyone down as Ubidi goes for the defuse. Epic Comets. I was wondering if they were going to be, kind of more attacking situated, as that seemed to be some of their highlights in the last maps that we've seen from them. Win the first round defense.
Yeah, it's great that they also were able to make this kind of read. You super stack out to A and C. Primarily when it comes to this map as well, you get real hard hits onto one of those sites, especially off of the pistol, because there's not a lot of power being put out and down long on C. But knowing that Merc exists, maybe they were fearful of having to deal with that golden gun. But otherwise, hitting up B into mid is really a big test. And that's kind of like a heat check to see if everyone's ready going into map number 2. And now, again, perfect. This is the kind of position you're going to see out of Merc all day. Opie did not see the timing with Don't Touch My Rice as they're hanging out down here in the sewer.
Here. A little bit of an approach in here. Micro is going to be able to find Don't Touch My Rice. It's actually looking the wrong direction at that very second. And Merc able to get a bit of damage, a bit of damage done, but more so damage to themselves. They tried to approach long on C. Seems the decision has been made to push the issue over to A. Micro just going to go ahead and back away, take the shots when they can find them, and they do find another. Unfortunately, can't back away from that one as Merc takes them down. And 4 members still left on the defense. Going to be stopping any attempt at planting, and it seems like Divine Child just really can't make an actual go at getting the spike on the field.
You got to see Wingman running at you, and then the Leer, big scary. So they did not pass that will check to not be afraid, and so they will be dropped just outside of A main. And you do have one testing out. Maybe they know there's a tripwire. That's Merc who's looking out to B, and Ukla looking for maybe a possible rotation if they want to come down into sewer. But you have basically a full cam setup, both tripwires out into the middle of garage, and that one's just going to be picked, and now they know exactly where they've rotated to, and Ukla's going to try and catch them as they run away, but he's on the cam, and so Ubidi will be dropped.
She worked out really well. I mean, Epic Comet's not really rotating on over, or just not even rotating really, sending others to other spawn positions, then decide towards the end that, yeah, okay, we should probably go ahead and check on C. And as they do so, the person who was making some noise over to A managed to find 1 kill, right? Ukla managed to find 1. But at the end of the day, a lot of the just numbers came in here for our defenders, who will grab that 2-0 as expected. I mean, Divine Child tried to mix it up as much as they could.
You say expected, but I've seen people just completely drop in the other direction. But this is also what we've been able to, maybe not conditioning is the greatest word, but see the variation from Divine Child. First couple of rounds, cool. Drop off. They don't have the power diff when it comes to the weaponry, but otherwise they look pretty strong for the decision making and still being creative. I love the set you do with tripwire to garage, tripwire to mid, and ultimately the cam set on C. So this is good control out of Ubidi, but they just have to weaponize them right, and they're gonna be on that bonus. So let's see what the AR is gonna do here on the buy up out of Divine Child.
Going through garage here. They are found out. They push the issue. See if he's going to win again on the action, should they decide to. They smoked up on B. Looks like they're going to run away from garage, especially if totally icy. Can get the first pick. I mean, just kind of as they rotate, just like, yep, got that one. And now it's 5v4 for Divine Child as they move on to that site. Basically no problem here, and Batman will get that plant. Epic Comets coming in for the defense. Down a member, and with 1 very, very injured Jets. Micro, see what they can do, injured as they are.
Micro otherwise had a really good kind of escape plan, but they got caught on the spray, and then ultimately in window, they're just gonna be washed out. This is full control of the site. Totally icy gets rid of Ubidi, and they're just gonna be able to put bullets down range any which direction. Dizzy is out of reach, and even trying to use that quick tick on mosh pit. Don't get anything. Flawless goes the way of Divine Child. Great counterpunch here as we will work into our first gun round.
And we get to what we are hoping for, which is certainly, again, the teams looking very even to each other. And not just one person popping off immediately. Actually, don't touch my rice on Omen again. He's yet to find a kill, actually.
Got 3 assists. That's like a kill and a half, right? Is it like half per?
Can that? Yeah, I mean, I'll agree with that math.
It's caster math. It's the best math.
Yes, which notoriously should always be done on stream. Oobity! Yeah, okay, didn't quite get in position, but still a win. Merc had a chance, but was unable to capitalize. And Oobity will be able to back away after that kill and still have the scout on Garage, which there's tons of members from Epic Comets there. I don't think that's going to be the play. But however, see Long actually looking a little open. It's tripwire, but that should be seen. I've been pretty attentive to it.
Cover going out.
Let the dark cover out from Garage, though. So Oobity's really going to be just a scouting report. Do they expect them to hang out there? They know that the same judge that felled their member before is chasing them down. Now Oobity's just trying to save his hat.
Yeah, which he does. I mean, definitely found out they knew about him. The fact that he was able to survive and still help out his team. I mean, pretty instrumental. Now it's a 5v4 situation still, thanks to that successful escape, and Oobity able to help out as well. Now some trades going down here. Ooh. And don't touch my rice, not able to win this duel again. Oobity coming in for some help. Finally gets taken down. 2v2 situation with the plant down and ticking on by. Zane left alone. Oh no, against the showstopper. Not much hope there. No. And that is a tied series now, 2-2.
When you hear a showstopper and you're next to a wall and there's no other places left to run, you're pretty much left with one outcome, and it's either you get the kill and die, or you just die. So good streak to bring this back now with 2 in the other direction. Now, one thing we got to remember. I mean, I know this is different maps, different compositions entirely, but it was what? Comets took 2 on their defensive half and then surrendered 6 in a row. So this is really about them being able to recover. This is definitely going to be a stretch point for them, as you have the hero rifle out of Mosaic, and they're going to play deep with that. But otherwise, everyone is playing up and real short, especially Oobity, who've, they're made shorter by a lot of bullets.
Yeah, not able to make the same impact they did last round, which still wasn't enough, but still. So Garage successfully overtaken by the attackers. C site as well, as Batman once again gets to that plant. Seems like a very good round for Divine Child. And definitely astute to bring up the fact that they did take a lead initially in the defense, but then it's actually where they ended up losing one after another. No check of the corner. Mosaic taken down. Goes that rifle. And there goes the rest of the team. Divine Child getting a flawless as they gather momentum.
The singular rifle that Mosaic was bringing to that round now will cost them a little bit more heavily, as they can't buy properly with the rest of the squad. So Bulldog and maybe a light shield it will be for them, and that's a 3rd in a row. So this is where you really have to kind of cut point on this momentum, but you also don't have really the full weaponry to do so. There's going to be a Rolling Thunder possibly being utilized by Batman if they deem it necessary, but they've also been reading that they've been leaving 1 here for C. It's mostly been Oobity out from Garage and kind of flexing between that position to C. So they actually may not utilize it, but it's in their back pocket as a possible, but it looks like they are. Yep. Might as well just freely open the site.
Actually gonna lead with a dog here first and foremost and see that. There you go, opening up the sights. And even a little bop over to take a head-on fight, which unfortunately Tolacy does not win after looking for it. Epic Comet's going to be able to be up a man as they take a retake stance. Oobity does go down. Fortunately, evening things up once again. Thanks to Merc kind of being a controlling factor on Garage. Very bold move there from Micro. Very bold indeed. Doesn't really pay off. And unfortunately, the Epic Comets are starting to fall here, one after another. Just Mosaic left alive, and they are taken down. Maybe a repeat of last map, as unfortunate as it is to say.
It's luckily the first half of the first half. Some might call it the first quarter, but we're not guaranteed, 24 rounds. But you got to think for any Jet, that's muscle memory. Just the quick tailwind and updraft, just to be able to go up on high on top of everyone. But they didn't find themselves in a beneficial situation to shock and awe. And again, we're in a weird buy, mostly eco. You have some anti to it. I think they may just forced to this simply to say, all right, we can still kind of stick with some of the weaponry coming out of Divine Child. And if they can't otherwise, then they're just prepared to save going to next.
Being a execution. The knives have been thrown out on the defensive side, just on the wrong end of the map. Seeker's looking for more information. Ubadi does also get some information, trying to wallbang as well. Not successful in that attempt. The rest of the Epic Comics coming over. The knives still in play, by the way. Can they actually be utilized? No, they cannot. Unfortunately, Merc wins that duel. And things aren't looking good for this round either. Epic Comets 3v5 situation. Now 2v5. And Ubdi looking for a kill with the Sheriff if they can find it. Mosaic gonna maybe be a distraction. Not really opening things up. No, now they're coming in from the same area. Totally Icy gonna be bold.
Might
Not
as well
too
be.
bold.
Yeah, they're in the dark cover. They know that if anyone tries to pop in there, they're pretty much dead, which is exactly what just happened. Has a blast pack to their availability, but they're going to catch a couple as they walk into that hallway. So another flawless here, and as they begin to really mount some extension to their lead zombie, this is maybe a bit untempered from the side of Epic. They've not been able to really get this defense kind of under control. They have been led by the nose by Divine Child, and they're freely just kind of letting them walk them around.
Like the way I like the way you put that. That seems to be correct. Definitely get the feeling of Divine Child. I mean, maybe around the pistol, right, and then the kind of a custom second round win. They can struggle, but once they've got the flow, and then they just continue to snowball with it. Actually, just seemingly better every single round, multiple flawless as well. Like, just you don't want to give up on the idea, of course, as Epic Comets of actually winning some of the defensive rounds, but it's at a certain point that snowball becomes absolutely huge, and you're just like acknowledging you got to get out of the way. In this case, maybe hoping for the swap, but you can't possibly just let them get every round. Unfortunately, it seems to be the case. Epic Comets able to buy up a little bit, not everyone, I believe, but you know they're getting picked off regardless. Nothing's working for them.
And it's because they were looking for a couple of those duels, even when they were backed all the way up into their B and garage positions. They're just not winning those contact points, and it's really kind of being just taking advantage of this. You do see at least one, and Opie is going to use that dismiss to full effect, run away before they are sighted out from their flank by Merc. And now you actually have Zane prepping the orbital strike when the rest of the team gets here. I do wonder what they're going to use, and they just put it straight down onto main site to make sure that boxes aren't going to be any kind of protection. Don't touch my rice. Put out a paranoia, and Opie just committed to being on the wall. Zane looking for another step around. They find a great transfer, and they have to walk it out as they're in a 1v1.5, making none as Merc finds their third.
A little bit of a hopeful moment there from Zane, actually, taking down 2 and able to successfully escape out of a potential third duel, but they're still in a, as you said, 1.5, 1 versus 1.5 situation, which means that if you're alive, you've got the scout and you've got the crossfire, you're still in a much, much better position. So a little bit of hope, something to put on the reel, but overall not a point for your team. As Divine Child, I mean, they were a little more broken that time around, at the very least. It wasn't a flawless, but still hold on to a ever-growing lead.
You gotta wonder when the timeout comes in, because we had one early, and maybe they think this one has starting to get away from them. You're seeing a bunch of players that are acting more on instinct than they are measured. You actually see Thrasher get used early as they're trying to be able to take away all that space, and they're being hunted down straight up in the window. They bounce out to around mid. Micro's going to take down Don't Touch My Rice, and that's from that back line position. Mosaic is all the way up in there. They've already used their ultimate, and they're trying to go and regain their little friend, but that Pokeball is not going to find anything as Mosaic is eventually dropped by Totally Icy, but now they're being hunted down by Ubidi, and now it's into a 2v3, and all the action was out and back on attacker side spawn.
Exactly. Things really took a turn for the weirder in Valorant. Something that Divine Child clearly kind of get tripped up a little bit on, but overall still taking control of the situation. Up a man here, and both with very injured teammates, but the spike's been planted. Now they can play that post plant. Unfortunately, Zane not looking the right direction. Ukla coming in from behind, looking to finish this off as well. They should win this, as they had all their health. They get the shots done. And yeah, it was definitely a different tempo from Epic Comets. Bring in some of that aggressive attacking side we know from them on the defense, really going deep into the attacker's spawn. Maybe could have tripped the Divine Child a little bit more. One more kill from that, perhaps a successful pickup on the Gecko ult, something along those lines, and that could have been the ticket. But it wasn't, and now they do get that timeout.
I feel like this almost might be a bit too late. Not that the game is over, but it's very late into this streak of 7 in a row for Divine Child. And I like the idea. If they'd been able to get even just a single person off of that Thrasher, maybe something different would have been able to turn. And it was a great concept because you knew they'd been pushing into mid. We have not seen this team, and again, it's a bit kind of foregone into this first half, seen them really kind of make a present thought to act for the next round and to their eco and to their buy. They are forcing every single time. Yeah. And the pockets are just getting fatter for Divine Child off of it.
I've also noticed that, like you kind of brought it up in the first map, and then it was like, oh, well, maybe this is a unique scenario for some reason. But then they're doing it again. I mean, it's definitely a pattern. And I really wonder why that is. I'm not smart enough at this game to tell you why. I'm sure they have a reason. But yeah, we've rarely ever seen kind of that full save into okay, well, this is the real time to shine. It's always been forced. It's always been subpar and trying to make do, which, I mean, maybe they argue is not the reason they're losing, but it just doesn't set them up ever in a very hopeful position as we start the round.
Yeah, it feels like they're trying to cut a steak with a blunted butter knife. And, you have a knife, but is it good enough to actually get the job done? Using the guiding light, they recognize that there's at least someone hanging out in mid, and the tentativeness really is just, it's a good method. You have the showstopper, and they're trying to be able to throw a rocket out there, and this is just a bunch of hop, skip, and jump. Micro dodging away with a cloud burst, and they're finding 2.
Wow, that was in Valorant right there. That was like a platformer Overwatch something going on. But Micro, I don't know how they did it. Coated themselves in butter. They were managing to avoid multiple angles of attack in the ultimates. And while they're not very healthy, they are still active. Divine Child, after all that hubbub, will be down to just 2 members. The most hopeful round yet for Epic Comets. I just need to clean it up here. They just need to clean it up. Yep, there we go. Okay, 3v1. There it is. There we go. I mean, it was another one of those interesting rounds, shall we say, something we've attempted before, but it finally worked out. Epic Comets really changing up the way that the engagements were supposed to go. Yeah, Child. Still taken back, maybe.
Micro, I mean, I'm so glad that they have someone with that kind of mechs to be able to kind of run around on their side, because it was the counterpoint of, I believe, Totally Icy, who was just ready to throw a giant explosion somewhere. And it's those kind of plays that you think, okay, this team's fine. They're gonna be just fine. 7-5 definitely could have it has the potential of being the outcome to this first half, which presents a great turn going to the next. But you have to find consistency, and thus far it's been anything but. And we're looking at a full C rush again. We do have another Rolling Thunder if they want to open up this site for free, and they do.
Yes, they do. Another pop-up, not as aggressively. Last time this happened, Totally Icy popped up way far forward. This time around, helped out by the team, clearing out the sites. A little bit of some trades going through. And then we end up with a 2v3 situation. Mosaic and OP, both some good guns. OP actually with an ultimate. Wonder if this actually be the opportunity to pop it. Certainly a winnable battle, especially as OP takes down Batman.
One enemy remaining.
And another one as well. OP coming in, really clutch here. Mosaic still here to help out as well. 2v1 as they do still have to defuse the spike, which they will absolutely be able to do. OP gets a 3K to really help Epic Comets here bring a 4th point to this match. I mean, that's some hope right there. That's actually getting me wiggly jiggly again, because I was getting a little sad on their behalf.
Yeah, you don't want a freebie 2-0 walking in, but now finally not just cutting that streak short, but also getting a second. They're going to have a mostly healthy pocket to buy from. It looks like they're going to be able to buy for a couple of themselves, but you actually have the coach calling a timeout for the side of Divine Child. So saying, all right, we do not want to allow them to get 5, because the 7-5 outcome on defense, where this is very much, I think, arguably an attacker-sided situation, is great for the side of the Comets. We've seen their attack, Zombie. It's one to be reckoned with, especially with this DC group.
Yeah. They performed very well in the first semifinal with it, and that was a bit different with their opponents. But then in the first map of this series, they also performed better than their defensive half. So, I mean, this could be why they're putting so much emphasis on actually winning here, as you said, making sure that's an 8-4, not a 5-7. Overall, still let's be tested. I'm interested to see if that swap actually works out. Here we go. Timeout over. Now Divine Child can execute whatever strategy they had cooked up.
You have Micro with the Blade Storm. You're one away from an orbital strike by Zane. And that's really the main two ultimates that you can activate with. Other than that, you have a From the Shadows if Don't Touch My Rice wants to get tricky with it. Odin play, Mosaic. Do you get any kills on this? I want to see.
No.
Not quite. No, just a spray. Okay, you got to control the side to side. Come on. But Opie's going to get so aggressive right here, and they do get a kill, but they opt for the Devour instead of the Dismiss, so they cannot escape.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, very, half-second scenario, but perhaps also not expecting everyone to be there, I guess. That's a bit unfortunate. It's a very aggressive play, not necessarily rewarding them as much as they would have liked, but it is one person down each for the team here. Oh, nice. Okay, I thought Micro was actually going to get that kill, but they're taken down. At least able to trade out again. We have just everyone fallen from both teams. Ubadi, the last one standing. For Epic Comets, Divine Child down to 2. Are going to get some positioning going. Ubadi definitely up against the ropes. Got to check so many places. Going to be checking correctly and get the headshot. Nicely done. Changing over the guns as well. Going to draw out Batman. Batman's not quite going to fall for it. Odin versus Odin, by the way. This is, really about skill, wasn't it? Batman had the utility to help out tremendously and will win the duel and put that 8th on the board for Divine Child. Very much down to the last. But still, ultimately, the point goes to Divine Child as they continue their lead coming into the swap. Now it's time to see if Epic Comets really is that much better on the attacking side.
Got a feel for Ubadi right there because a fault line turns an Odin into a classic very quickly with that stun. Otherwise, we flip right around here with zombies. So we go to 4-8, and it could have been so much worse. So woulda, coulda, shoulda been a 10-2. But we turned that train around a couple different times. But you gotta see if the same kind of output can be gained by the Comets, because Divine Child, they are 5 away from being this weekend's Back2School championship. So let's see if we'll be able to find them in this first round.
Yep. Epic Comets definitely live up to their name. They did a couple of times on the defensive rounds, finally showing that aggressive positioning, and it looks like they are going to be heading all over onto A. The call has been made to defend over there as the rest of Divine Child goes over to defend, but Opie already with a pickoff, taking down Heaven. No worries over there. And the spike will be planted as more utility is also being slapped down. Positioning's being set. And Divine Child gonna have a bit of a time getting this retake in.
The long flank being acclimated by Merc. And I think that might have been settled out, but you have a lot of people otherwise up in heaven. So going to try and squeeze them from both sides, but that fight is going to happen down into sewer as well as Mosaic will down check, and now they're falling like dominoes as they're one key point to entry in from. Well, it's this turn, and they're going to be able to at least get one, but Opie, it was the initial pick from Opie out in heaven that really gave them that first kind of point of interest, and then to be able to have that confidence for A main. So Opie, we've seen them kind of go quiet at times, but this shift over onto this Reyna, I think, can be able to provide that impact necessary for the Comets to make this kind of comeback.
And Opie actually across the maps really starting to prove to be their own. MVP again will be determined at a later date, just to be like super official, but they're really coming in for their team alongside Micro, of course. And Don't Touch My Rice on having as much of a highlight for this particular battle, as it did really come down to a lot of the other team members as we kind of push came to shove a little bit more for this very close best of 3 finals. Yeah, successful C plants by the looks of things.
A lot of flashes already being used as both Dizzy as well as both Lears came out, so they really don't have anything for kind of the retake battle that could come through. And you have 5 remaining members out from Divine Child, and they want to take this fight. You have the fault line that gets used to stun up Opie, who is going to get sprayed through this box, and now from off that flank, Opie is going to get absolutely COD jumped on with a right click off that classic. And you have 2 from down and distance, and though they can be able to ping it, they actually catch him with the spray off that Guardian from Zane.
Nicely done by Zane. Exactly what they need to do, and furthering it up with the same exact scenario, making it a 3K. A wonderful post-plant position there. And they will grab that other point. But, I mean, Divine Child really make it questionable, didn't they? It started to look like they were about to break that open, but not able to do so. Not able to really chase down that long and take care of the opponents who would be covering such a diffuse.
Really, when we see, I believe it's like Merc is getting the big picks that you need to off of a very hungry Sentinel that is Chamber. No matter how much the change up is, if you're not getting kills on Chamber, then you're not being the proper kind of position with them. But Totally Icy and Batman, I think when they kind of disappear off this map, that's when big things happen. Batman uses the Odin play to full effect to start in the first few seconds.
Exactly. That's quite unfortunate. I didn't think the last time that was set up was going to work out, but it clearly did that time. Divine Child put their foot down a little bit. Still have to finish off the rounds, but they do want to stop this momentum from being built in their opposition's favor. It's gotten a little bit closer than they would like, considering their rampage they were on when they were on the attacking side. Things do slow down after that first kill. Oh, Long is covered by Merc. Gotta be very careful about this. It's actually going to be a successful take onto that orb at the very least. Are they going to push it onto C? It looks of things they are. We got the Ubity Cypher opening up garage, hoping to find no opposition. No, it's not going to be a C hit at all. Everyone's rotating on over. Someone from the Divine Child is trying to be ready for exactly that. It's going to be the race. Totally Icy. They also had a battle in garage, but Totally Icy was prepared for that rotate as I was talking about. Able to pick off 2. Now they know where the spike is as well. A 3v2 here for Epic Comets. They do manage to pick up that spike, but Ubity's very injured, and OP is, I guess, really who we're looking at to actually make this work out with the ult.
Ubity is baiting themselves. They are acting as a decoy in favor of what they can do for OP, simply so they can operate off of their Empress. But that Empress has fallen.
Yeah.
They're going to use that Dismiss, use the Frankenstein hands. They still have to be able to get this plant off, and I don't know if they're going to have enough time to do it. They're going to get exploded on, and there's going to be enough time to get a point, but the point is you got to win the round, and the retake happens quite swiftly for the top 2 right now on the scoreboard from Divine Child. So the Falcons will fell them, and we got to see Zombie. It's been able to get the pistol, get the follow-up. They have to stop any semblance of a streak here.
Yeah, exactly. Which they're able to do a little bit more back and forth when they are on the attacking side, but this has been a problem for them back to back. Shout out to Totally Icy for sticking to their guns, literally in Valorant, just making sure that rotate when it came over, they were going to be prepared for it, not just picking off 2 who were leading. That rotate over, but then the paint shells further buying time, getting the kill on Cypher, and then also, the Empress actually dissipating while that was going on. Kind of made it more awkward, even more awkward. But yeah, big shout out to them. So they helped their team take this 3rd point in the second half, leading 9-6. Batman getting a first pick here. Puts Epic Comets into a weird position. They're looking to try and break through C long. Micro poking their head outs and finding Batman, but there is a teammate. Don't touch my rice back there. Get revenge for Batman.
Who's Batman's greatest friend? Would that be Superman coming through? I mean, if there's anyone that would be Superman on this team, it definitely would be Don't Touch My Rice. You're gonna try and do a bit of flash guarding, as you did see them looking towards the ground, and now you have to deal with a couple of squawking birds that are trying to give you away. But now as they post up, it's 4v2. You've got the numbers advantage, and they're going to have to force that rotation, seeing if they can find them. Don't Touch My Rice is getting that sight line from out in garage, and they're just full tilt running, but they're going to go straight at Icy, and they're willing to receive them.
Yeah, I was going to say, Totally Icy is getting into that beautiful position once again. Not able to get into the same position, however, and was kind of found out as well. So Zane takes down that stopping force that existed in the last round, and they actually get onto the site to get the plants and try and get us on decent post-plant position. However, Zane takes... Zane does take down 1. It's 2v1, actually. Epic Comets looking for a win here, possibly. Ubity set up. Oh, jeez. Thought was going to be caught using utility. Does have their gun out. Unfortunately, doesn't win the duel, however. Now it's 1v1. Ukla versus Zane, and Zane is looking the wrong direction. Oh, good lord. It's 50-50, kind of feels like, and then it's going to be Ukla on 11 health and having to get to the fuse as well. That's what Zane can play around. That's the favor for them, but they are going to lose the duel, and Ukla is going to be able to get to the fuse. Divine Child will go up to double digits. Oh, no, I actually thought that was Epic Comets.
Yeah, that one was such a cat and mouse situation, and Ookla showcasing they can prowl a little bit better than Zane. And I mean, credit to him. That was a great rotation to be able to even get the initial plant, because it was Zane that took the fight against Icy, took them down, got into it, and then survived out. But Ubity was caught in the juggling my utility game. They put up their
Yeah.
cam, they put up the tripwire. Sometimes intelligence, not just in the brain stem, but also of where everything is key, is factor, because knowledge is power. But sometimes you just play with the gun. Oh, and now they have the tour de force, and Opie is laid flat.
Yep. Merc gets that first kill exactly as they would hope, and now you got to worry about. I mean, do you go? The tour de force is out. Do you actually try and go through C long? No, you do not. What do you do here? Sneak right on past that tour de force, waiting. They are sneaking past it successfully. They are moving on in. But this is a little bit expected, I would say. Divine Child should be ready to see that head poke out. Hidden over to A. Totally Icy once again. The first stopping force of this movement. Don't touch my rice here to help out as well. And the trigger has been pulled. Showstopper comes out. Micro gets onto the high ground, takes down Totally Icy, actually. Nicely done, and still holding that high ground position, not being taken on quite yet. There we go. And dazed and confused as they were. It was going to be a tough one. The rest of the Divine Child move in, a lickety split, and with the move in, they able to clear things out in sub 5 seconds, I want to say. 11-6, unfortunately, for Epic Comets. They are now in the very, very unfortunate position of like never being able to buy up.
Yeah,
Like
and you don't want to be here, especially this late, because we are 2 points away from a championship win. So
yeah.
Not great. And that kill earlier, I like to call that pop in the pinata, when you kill an airborne showstoppered Raze. But that's also case in point evidence of when a Raze is trying to think and they don't pull the trigger. Because they're like, they're on top of a box. How do I hit this with no wall? What do I do? Oh, they see Merc immediately up there with an operator as well. So it seems like Thrasher's going to be used to try and clear the initial point of C. And they're going to put them all the way down in distance into that backside corner. So this will give them at least a chance.
Micro was trying to position themselves very aggressively. They'd actually bought a shotgun. Name escapes me right now, but it didn't work out, unfortunately. And this is all, I mean, not working out so well, but that's so poorly either. 3v3 situation. Zane coming in with Epic Comet's subpar gun. Orbital Strike's trying to come down and try and help out, but not so much effect. Now it is just Zane who is left alone to try and guard this defuse. But Totally Icy's totally ready for this. There you go.
That'll move him to a 12th. Operator found out in the hands of Zane, and that was actually a great long commit onto that post-plant defense. But now that they've given all of their big bucks into this big round, the 19th on its way, they're in a rough situation to try and dig this one out of the hole. And it just seems like they grab the first two, and they can't grab much after that.
Yeah. Shorty, by the way. And they had popped their knives. I wasn't certain about that because when I checked the kill feed that they, whatchamacallit, that they were dead and that they still had their finale online. But no, they actually had used it. So that was really to no effect. And now what do they have for their last stand in this entire best of 3? Not the guns that they would hope for.
Not really. They can play around each other, and that's going to be a consistent factor. They have no ultimates, save one for the neural theft that really could get used. But you do also have Don't Touch My Rice, who's hanging out just outside of Sewer, and this initial contact, as well as both Micro and Mosaic come up on wall bangs to be able to open things, and this is looking way more promising than what we thought it would be.
Absolutely, and Totally Icy, generally, pretty icy, I would say. Kind of didn't do that duel so well. Maybe a bit of a trip up here at the finish line for Divine Child. Maybe the excitement of potentially winning is already getting to them. It's just down to Batman, a 1v4. So this definitely looks like Epic Comets will be able to stop it for now. Get a 7th on the board. And then maybe crawl their way back. Especially if they can keep all their guns and buy up onto the actual full buy that they've been avoiding for the most part in this map.
showcasing us. They just don't need it. And OP showcasing, hey, we can run behind at least one solid rifle, get the 3, and be the duelist that they require them to be. So they found to 7. 5 more, and we can find ourselves in the first OT today. And they were able to at least stop that streak from growing too monumentous, as well as, you know, eventually grabbing this weekend's win. But now it's about how they can actually execute behind it. Ubity, they get the neural fed. That's cool. They're going to have to run away from this Rolling Thunder, which we've not seen used defensively by Batman. But that's a scary ult to have to deal with if you do, especially because they could just walk straight right back in.
And then once again, that spam to try and get the first kill. Lickety splits. Not going to happen this time around. So we have movement every which way. Microbe take on Totally Icy. It's again, Totally Icy not able to really hold on to B all by their lonesome. And it is going to be a B hit possibly off of that. Something that Divine Child I think has figured out here. Going to have to be a quick retreat. Batman picks up a kill with the Odin, leading it down to even members on both parties. Situation in which now everyone is disengaged from B entirely. Moving on over to A, Micro leading the charge, looking for a kill, and they stole the shoulder. Yes, they absolutely did. Now just have to win the fight, which they do not. Don't touch my rice. Gonna stop them from approaching A with ease, and in fact might be getting more. Gets 3K by the time they're taken down, leaving only Ubity here to try and win for Epic Comets, which they do not do, and that will be it. Divine Child with the win in Map 2, and the win in the best of 3 series for this week's Back to School tournament. Congratulations to them.
An exciting 2-0, but a 2-0 all the same. Authoritative, dominant. In other words, that means they did it pretty good. Go to the side of Divine Child High School. The Falcons fly high. Look at that diff, though, onto the scoreboard. Opie was dragging his team, kicking and screaming towards what was their inevitable end, but went out there fighting. A really strong student competitor, but it was Merc, Icy, able to really kind of rock the top of the stack. And Merc was, I mean, I think behind the highlight that we saw so much early on of Don't Touch My Rice, Merc was quietly doing exactly the same job, and it just came to a big point here in this final game.
It would have been pretty fun if it ended up being more of a 1v1, right? Don't Touch My Rice versus Micro, as we kind of foresaw coming into this finals. But I'm actually happy the way it went, that it did, which is that we got to see the power of the entire teams really showcased. And in today's case, it will be Divine Child's team that end up taking victory. But it's good performance from Epic Comets as well. Hoping to see both teams back here for further Back to School tournaments. That's going to be it, guys, for the broadcast here today. Big thank you to Mountain once again for sponsoring the tournaments. They're giving away some mice for first place, and we are going to get the MVP here. Drum roll. It's Opie, I believe, is the final choice. They really did showcase some great stuff here in this best of 3 finals. Do you agree with that MVP choice?
I would say so. I'd say that they were the most consistent, and really they changed up a lot of their role for their agency. I think the most to benefit their team, and seeing that separation at the very end, even though they couldn't come away with the dub, really was the love that you can give to this player. So, hey, if they're going to be getting that keyboard, maybe they're going to be even more effective, which is going to make it really tough for them to not maybe be MVP next time. So, congrats to them, but even more to Divine Child being able to get all of the, I believe they are Makula 67 mice, and maybe clicking a little bit more heads even more effectively with those later on.
Yep, thank you again, Mountain, for that. And thank you to League OS for powering this tournament as well. And that is going to be it, guys. Congratulations to Divine Child for winning the overall best of 3. To Opie for winning the MVP. Thank you to all the production behind the scenes. And thank you to my co-caster for carrying me once again when it comes to any amount of Valorant analysis. You were awesome, dude. Big thank you. And thank you to everyone who watched. Please follow the channel and all that good stuff. And be prepared for more Valorant tournaments. Have a good rest of your weekend. Bye-bye.